Hello everybody. We are back streaming at least 1 hour today. Just fixing my hair a bit. It's a little wacky right now. It's a little crazy right now. Fixing my hair. Hold up. Let me, I feel like this thing here could just go down. Hold on. Let me just stream real quick. Let me go put on some tunes as I do that. And we're going to start off by reading the headlines. We have the phone line open in case anybody wants to come and debate, and we will go and do that as soon as we can, when the time comes. I'm pulling up the stream just so I can see the chat on my phone. Where's the damn stream? Oh, there it is. Okay. Sounds good. Turn myself down. Let me turn down the music down just a little bit. When someone joins the stream, feel free to say hi in the chat. If you disagree with what I gotta say under me, feel free to express it, and we will talk about it. We will disagree. We will debate. And I'll go through the headlines soon. I'm just gonna do a little bit of adjusting to the screen here. Move this down a bit like so. There you go. Hey. Color, there you go. No. Nope, that's not what I wanted to click. There you go. Alright, everybody. Feel free to call in. If you disagree, say so. If you like what I gotta say so. We're gonna be going through the headlines in just a moment. Just kind of balancing this. There you go. I think that's a little too low. That's too high. Precision. This is some professional shit here, folks. Pro shit. Pro gamer moves. Maybe I gotta move this text up a little bit. Actually. There you go. Alright. So, this stream is called, Trump is embarrassed right now over the Iran war because there was an interesting headline I saw related to Iran where, what was it? Where is it? It was something related to China and NATO from Trump. It's a little bit concerning. Iran war live updates. Trump pressures China and NATO and other countries to help open the Strait of Hormuz. Trump chastises nations. This is Al Jazeera. Trump chastises nations for lack of enthusiasm over Hormuz. Trump criticizes allies who rebuffed his calls to secure the Strait of Hormuz. You see, the thing is, brother, you started this war. If you started a war that you out here begging other people, why aren't they helping me do this war? You probably should have consulted with them at minimum. And just in general, just don't do the fucking war. Because it's a bullshit war. Now, you started it, now you got to deal with it. You got the fascists in Italy, the right-wing Prime Minister, Meloni, pulling all Middle Eastern troops out of Iran. And now you're out here demanding that China help, that Europe help. Let me verify this Meloni stuff. Alright? Meloni, Iran. What happened here? Italy's Meloni criticizes U.S. war on Iran as part of a dangerous trend. France and Italy to Iran, let's make a deal. Anti-war protests in Italy and Spain as high-stakes referendum on Italian judges looms. Europe's reaction on Trump's war in Iran is a disaster for Europe itself. I mean, yeah, of course it is. If you think about it, in Europe, you are of proximity a lot closer to Iran. Now, what does the United States want out of this war? They want to make some money. Our defense contractors want to make some money. Donald Trump wants to make some money. I'm sure if he could find himself, what's that island that he bombed? Kurg Island or whatever? An island with a ton of Iranian oil. Hello, Numbers Ninja Roman. Welcome to the stream. But that Kurg Island that that important oil island for Iran. I bet Trump would love to personally own that island. One, it's going to remind him of his best buddy Jeffrey Epstein. You know, owning an island is going to be like a sort of relatable, almost like brother, we made it moment for him. But also just to be able to profit from that oil like he's been profiting directly from the Venezuelan oil that this country has stolen in his for his benefit. On Israel's part, though, and this is the more concerning part, on Israel's part, they want to destroy Iran. They want to balkanize Iran. They want it to be a failed state like Syria has been for years. Now, Syria is nowhere near as populated or large as Iran. Iran has over 90 million people or something like that. So, Syria, or Iran, excuse me, Iran, if it collapses, if it cuts into a state like Syria has been in for a decade of constant civil war, different factions fighting among each other, no chaos, full chaos, no peace. And then you have another Syrian refugee-style crisis with millions upon millions upon millions of people heading to Europe. I don't think that really benefits Europe. So it makes sense that even right-wingers are against this war. Nobody is for this war. Donald Trump is for this war. Netanyahu is for this war. Israel is for this war. And they're willing to kill Americans for Israel because Israel demands it. And that shows you just exactly the rot, the moral rot destroying the United States of America. It's both a foreign nation out here dominating our politics, but also maybe not millions, but thousands and thousands on thousands of politicians from the national to the local level willing to sell you out and your neighbors out and your kids out for the benefit of the state of Israel. And I find that to be disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Gross. These politicians got to remember that you serve us, the people. But until we actually show up at the ballot box and punish them, until more decent people start running for office and kicking their asses in the metaphorical and political sense, they will not learn. They will not learn. But with that in mind, maybe Trump's going to learn, though, that he made a mistake with this Israel shit being their bitch. The thing is, most likely, due to his relationship with Epstein, I remember Epstein emailed specifically saying something like, there was an Epstein victim, I think they named her or whatever, but she was alone with Trump in Epstein's house for like 4 hours or multiple hours or something like that. Now, I don't think they were talking about sports. You a fucking billionaire, best friends with the CEO of Pedophile Inc. Nah, you not just meeting one of the victims just to talk about the weather, or politics, or gaming, or whatever the hell. He's fucking one of Epstein's victims. And Epstein had that shit, his house, every home that he had, bugged, bruh. That shit was bugged. So I genuinely believe at this point, honestly, considering that Epstein was Mossad, he was kind of almost seemingly a freelance agent for multiple intelligence agencies, from the Israelis to the United States to the Russians and so on and so forth. All these different countries got dirt on the president of the United States that he probably fucked a kid. I'm not saying for sure. I wasn't there. But all I'm saying is the emails of the biggest, most prolific pedophile in human history had Trump hanging around with his victims for an hour in a bedroom. And there's a reason why the normies think Trump's a pedophile, though. For the MAGA folks that don't understand this, because there are still MAGA folks that don't understand this. Because for the normal mind, you hear grown-ass man chilling with a little girl for hours upon hours upon hours in a pedophile's home, a human trafficker's home. That grown man ain't out here chilling. And very likely Israel has the dirt on Trump. Israel had the dirt on Bill Clinton about Monica Lewinsky and threatened to reveal that on him to get what they wanted. They wanted no peace in the Middle East. They wanted no deal with the Palestinians, or whatever the hell they want. And they are willing to use blackmail against presidents of the United States. And Bill Clinton, as a president, was some of a different political time where our politics felt a lot more cleaner than how messy it feels now, right? It wasn't necessarily clean, but it felt a bit more cleaner. Politicians had to hide shit. They couldn't be as direct about how disgusting they are. But Trump is a significantly more wild person with likely a lot more dirt. 202, enough said. I don't quite know what that is referring to, but feel free to explain, Mr. Don O. Naturally, talking about Iran and Trump and Israel led us to talking about Epstein, of course. I think Donald Trump is betting on the Iran war distracting from the Epstein files, making the Epstein files disappear. And certainly in the immediate present, when the war started, the interest in the Epstein files did sink down a bit. But it won't go away, though. You know what I'm saying? It will not go away. They still only released a portion of the files. There's still a lot more files to release. There's an interesting headline here, The Guardian. Attention will swing back. Epstein outrage unlikely to subside despite Trump's war. Advocates say 24/7 coverage of the United States attacks will not last forever, and the spotlight will return to Epstein and his crimes. Which, yeah. If he thinks this is the way to be free from the Epstein shit, he's incorrect. He's incorrect. They botched the initial release. They had redaction after redaction after redaction after redaction. They brought out even more redactions. In both cases, they accidentally revealed shit in all of them. Trump has horrible, horrible, horrible accusations against them in those files. Horrible, dog. You're a Washington, D.C.? No, brother, this is a Google Voice number, dog. I just chose a random number. That's what it means. Oh, so you're upset that I'm against people dying for Israel, and I'm against the most prolific pedophile on the planet, Jeffrey Epstein. You're upset that I want these files released. Is that what you're telling me? Because if that upsets you, I don't know what to tell you. This is a bipartisan thing. There are Republicans that want these files released. There are Republicans that are against this bullshit war. And there's certainly a lot of independents and normies. Don't make assumptions. Brother, your last message before don't make assumptions, you're a Washington, D.C. Democrat. That's what it means. Don't make assumptions. So you make an assumption and then you get upset when someone says, oh, wait, so you disagree with what I have to say? When I'm out here speaking against the pedophiles and the elites and the rich and Israel? And you're out here being like, don't make assumptions. Shut the fuck up, man. Come on, brother. I see right through you people. You're all the same. Now, you would love to bring up the Epstein files and all these elite crimes. Don't put 202 as your area code. Why not? My priority when I was making up the number was to actually try to get something that's easy to say and easy to remember, right? Something kind of a little catchy. 202-780-9773. That's what I was thinking when it came to that. I was looking through all the major cities in the U.S. and a bunch of different counties. But clearly, Don, you ain't against assumptions. You started with an assumption. The assumption there, more even so than Washington, D.C. was Democrat. Which, yes, I am a Democrat. You're correct to assume that. I'm glad to not be in the same party as Donald Trump. And I'm glad to be in a party where there are members willing to call out the leadership, unlike the Republican Party. The Republican Party has like one guy calling out the leadership, Thomas Massey, and Thomas Massey is currently facing a challenger promoted by Donald Trump for Thomas Massey's horrible crime in Donald Trump's eyes of trying to expose the pedophiles in the Epstein files. Horrible, I know. Horrible. Disgusting. Unloyal to Donald Trump. Now we gotta think though, why is Donald Trump offended when you got a Republican going after pedophiles? I don't know. I don't know, that's a little strange. A little weird. A little odd. I don't even agree with Thomas Massey on everything. He's a libertarian ideologically. He's a Republican member of Congress. Thomas Massey said this himself. He votes with Republicans 90% of the time or higher, like 95, 97% of the time. The 3% just happens to be against the pedophiles. I'm glad to be in a party where I think for myself. Don, I'm curious, what party are you in? Are you a Republican? You're free to answer in the chat whenever. Because if you're a Republican, if you're anti-pedophile, and you happen to be a member of Congress, you're going to have Donald Trump funding and supporting a primary challenger against you. Going to, I believe, Kentucky. I think that's where they're at. Is that where Thomas Massey's at? I might be wrong. It might be Kentucky or Tennessee. It's one of those two places, I bet. Let me see. Thomas Massey. Let's see what district he's in. Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. Donald Trump goes to Kentucky's 4th Congressional District to try to kick out Thomas Massey for daring to be against pedophiles. Are you a Republican or not? I'm just genuinely curious. Maybe you're an independent. I can give you credit where credit's due of being an independent. Maybe you're a Green or maybe you're a Libertarian. But if you're a Republican and you're out here being like, I'm in the party of free thought and expression, that's bullshit. That's not true. The Republican Party is the party of pedophile protectors. And pedophiles directly. That's the state of American politics, by the way. Because y'all lost even Moist Critical. Moist Critical ain't out here talking about politics every other day. But he out here just like a ton of normies, not super political people, that is disgusted by how the Republican Party is handling the Epstein files. I'm in a party of one myself. I see. I get the sense you're a registered Republican, and if you're a registered independent and you're coming here defending Trump, you're probably a very right-leaning independent, if so. But I'm guessing you're a Republican. Just my guess. At least you vote a certain way, is my assumption. Though I know you don't want me to assume. But I will assume. Assuming right now. But no matter what you are, I'm sure that... Oh, you're a registered nothing. Oh, so you're just not registered to vote. Okay. Alright. Hey, shout out to you, brother. Shit. Some of us just be that way. Anyway, with that in mind, you can be registered whatever you want. I told you, don't assume. I don't know what you're talking about. YouTube chat has kind of sway on what one can do. I can assume whatever the hell I want to assume, just like you can assume things as well. Anyway, point is, the pedophiles are losing traction. The approval rate is real bad, not looking good. The war is going to shit. The Epstein file issue will continue to come back. Trump says he's helping NATO with Ukraine, so NATO should be sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz. So because the United States has sent money to Ukraine, which as far as I know, Trump has really whittled down. Trump is now demanding that they directly engage with Iran and go to war with Iran. Because that's what happens when you get a guy that comes into office saying he's going to just fix every war, fix every problem, because he's special and because he's built different. And that's unironically what he was campaigning on. That's what happens when you get a guy like that. He doesn't know shit, and he doesn't understand how this works. So, that's the state of the war. Elections tomorrow. There is some interesting elections. AIPAC has been targeting a Democrat, a specific Democrat, candidate in a Democratic primary in Illinois, Kat Abou-Ghazaleh. They're supporting both one of the centrist candidates, or one of them, I'll just say directly conservative Democrat candidates that takes a tremendous amount of their money. And not only are they supporting her, they're supporting another progressive running with one of their affiliated PACs, trying to essentially split the progressive vote. As a result, though, they've been exposed both on the local Chicago news and, of course, broader progressive media, and a lot of people are really getting behind Kat, and there's a lot of attention on this. Now, Election Day is tomorrow. We will see what happens. But I'm rooting for Kat Abou-Ghazaleh. It's fascinating to see that AIPAC has become really this sort of toxic brand now, which is great progress just for the world. You know, I was watching some documentary just about the 2008 election, and there was a clip that they were showing, and they didn't even make a big deal about this. This was just kind of B-roll, essentially, just kind of showing the candidates doing their thing. It was Obama and Hillary. Now, again, 2 Democrats. So the 2 main Democratic candidates were out there speaking at the AIPAC convention, jerking off Israel, saying how amazing it is, all that shit, and no one batted an eye. If there's something that really reflects the progress that we've made as a country at the societal level, in terms of the people, right? Not necessarily the head of government, the top of government, right? But in 2028, if someone is going and speaking at AIPAC, and they're seeking the Democratic nomination for President of the United States, and they're speaking at an AIPAC conference, their campaign is dead in the water. It's over at that point. Ike Swoop says, MAGA. Ike, I'm curious how you feel about your boy being an Epstein associate and starting a war he can't win. And now he's begging Europe and China to interfere in the war against Iran. He's demanding that Europe send warships and essentially engage with Iran, starting a war themselves, because he can't win this war by himself. Or he started a war he can't happen to win. Or he started a war where he expected Americans and Europeans to die for Israel, but Europeans are saying, we actually don't want to die for Israel. We would actually want the Strait of Hormuz open, and it would be open if us, the United States, and Israel did not attack Iran. I think that's what the Europeans are saying to Trump. And Trump's now starting a tantrum over that fact. So, he's pulling their card. What do you mean by pulling their card? Elaborate. I'm curious. Because I don't think Donald Trump has any cards to play. The only people with cards to play right now, genuinely, as this war has developed, is Iran. Because they are nuking the global economy by closing the Strait of Hormuz, by going after oil in the Arab countries. Right? That's why your gas prices are more expensive when you go outside. So, who has the cards right now? Because it's certainly not the United States. Even if we fucking nuke Iran, and we destroy Iran, if we do that, we collapse their society. We can do that. But that's going to cause a major refugee crisis across the Middle East, likely towards Europe, which I know you right-wingers are against. That's going to cause unbelievable death and destruction for people that are innocent and don't deserve that, the civilians. That's going to cause a chaotic situation that we won't be able to control. That's probably going to cause the rise of sort of an ISIS too, like the Iraq war caused. That's going to cause instability. That's going to kill our ground troops when we eventually get to that point. You know, I say eventually get to that point because we will get to that point. That's the thing I think people got to realize. We will get to that point. I think Trump actually canceled a meeting or delayed a meeting with Xi Jinping. Let me look this up. Trump says U.S. This is Trump saying it. Trump says U.S. asked China to delay Xi Jinping meeting a month or so due to Iran war. So he expects this to at least go a month. You will see soon the Iranian people will take to the street and elect a new government. Oh my gosh, you drank the Kool-Aid, brother. You drank the Kool-Aid. They said the same thing about Iraq. Were you supportive of Iraq too? And I'm sure you must have been disappointed when that didn't happen. I'm sure you must have been disappointed with like, oh wait, getting rid of government is easy, but stabilizing the country is hard. Whoa, ISIS, where did that come from? Who could have predicted a power vacuum would lead to someone filling it? Someone more radical filling it. Now your perspective is in Iran, after we blew up an oil depot or whatever the hell in Tehran that led to so much oil burning that it caused toxic, cancerous acid rain in Tehran the next day that's likely going to give millions of people in that city cancer in the long run. Those people are the ones that are going to be like, yeah, no worry, we'll bring back the Shah. We'll bring back the Shah. The guy that's been living in the United States advocating for regime change, war, and invasion of our country, we're just going to make him the king again. Or maybe you're saying absolutely not. I didn't support the Iraq war. Oh, so you're just supporting, so you didn't support the war against a smaller country, similar situation, run by a tyrant and all that shit. I agree with you that supporting the war was bad, but you're supporting a regime change war against Iran, a bigger country, a bigger populated country, a worse terrain for war, because you just expect that the Iranians are going to rise up and just make their new government, and that new government is just going to be pro-Trump, pro-Israel, pro-United States, and so on and so forth, after the United States and Israel are bombing schools, Iranian schools, going after Iranian salination plants, so that's directly water infrastructure. That means we're trying to dehydrate and essentially starve the people, not make them lose their water. They're just going to come in there and be like, thank you, America, thank you, you saved us, thank you for killing my daughter in a school, shout out to you, man. I'm going to elect a president that's going to suck your dick. And you know what? We'll even go to the Epstein survivors and we'll arrest them because we're so grateful to you. Come on. It's not going to happen. If you were wise enough to not support the Iraq war, you should see all the issues with this, brother. Because this is Iraq on steroids. In Iraq, Saddam didn't have the capabilities of closing the Strait of Hormuz, of collapsing the global economy. Iran does. They're actively doing that. Right now, gas prices are up. Right now, food prices are going to go up because there's cascading effects of gas prices being up. Flights are going to be more expensive. There will be gas shortages, most likely. Because even though America is a major gas-producing nation, oil-producing nation particularly, our oil is exported to a tremendous degree. We're the number one exporter in the world, or maybe not number one, but top exporter, maybe number one producer, one of those things. It's been a while since I looked into it. So it's not like that gas is going to us. It's going all across the world. So that Arab gas, that's coming from Saudi, that's coming from Dubai, or all those little oil kingdoms, who are now being bombed by Iran, whose oil is being blocked at the Strait of Hormuz, who's going to be hitting the ocean mines in the Strait of Hormuz, who's being hit with drones and their ships are sunk in the Strait of Hormuz. Those people's oil are not going to be able to come here. Their production is at a stop. And Donald Trump himself was saying that he's asking China to delay a meeting a month or so due to this war. And that's what he's saying. He's saying, it'll last a month or so. He started by saying it's going to last a couple days. A couple days. It's not doing that right now. It's not doing that. Now he's saying it's going to last a month. They did the same thing in Iraq. I've been underground. Hey, nice to see you back streaming. Yes, sir. We're back. And we got the calls open for people that want to debate, but I think the strategy in terms of these upcoming live streams is just to kind of chat politics for at least an hour, go through the headlines, give some opinions and all that stuff, you know? Mayor Mamdani admits little thought on Irish reunification. During an event in Flushing International High School announcing Safe Streets Initiative, the newly sworn-in mayor praises Irish Americans' role in New York, but sidestepped endorsing a united Ireland. The moment drew millions of views, with critics questioning his anti-colonial stances and defenders calling the query irrelevant to city duties like school safety, highlighting pressure on politicians to weigh in on global issues and priorities. Are fucking Irish people even still talking about that right now? The man literally can't even become president. You must want to lie to everyone. Have you seen what has happened? Open your eyes. She da Republic. I'm assuming you're saying you're a Republican. That's what the name means. If you think this war is going well, I don't know what to tell you. In what regard? We killed the Shah, and then they got a new Shah. We bombed a school. I'm sure that is going to help make us popular over there. Oh, we're getting a call? I'm sure that is going to help make us popular. 734 area code. What's on your mind? Oh, we're getting a call? Oh, I hear myself in the background. Is there a way you can mute the stream?
Oh, is that better?
Yep, that's better.
Okay, cool. Oh, hey, so I was just browsing YouTube, and I saw you guys were talking about Trump, so I was like, oh man, I better get in on this action.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to talk about it. I just figured, hey, let's dive right in. Let's get some opinions expressed. Let's kind of, break down all the topics into little minuscule pieces, we'll unpack it, and then we'll decompress it and digest it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really get into the meat of the thing. Some hot takes. Just I don't want to offend anybody, of course. I want to be respectful of your opinion, but obviously have very different opinions than you, and just wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So what's your opinion?
Well, again, it's the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. I don't know how to express this eloquently, so I won't even try. But I'm of the opinion that everything you said, it's exactly wrong. And I'm sorry to say that because you seem like a nice enough fella, and I think the problem with politics is the discourse and how hostile we are to each other. But if you can't disagree to agree, what can you do? Yeah. So what's your opinion, though? It's not okay. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You know how you felt very strongly. What I'm telling you is maybe you should consider looking at it through my point of view and seeing how. Oh, I can see the right wing point of view, and I interact with the right wingers. It's just like you say, I'm wrong. I think they're wrong, right? So feel free to tell me how this war is going well. Well, okay, sir. Listen, let's just stop for 1 second, and we'll talk about this. Why is it called right wing if they're wrong? That to me sounds like. We all agree we are on the right side. Are you going to have the debate, or are you going to do, like, the silly semantics? No, I'm not anti-semantics, sir, and I don't think we should be hatred towards Jewish people. Okay, so do you have an opinion, or I'm going to let you go? No, hey, okay, just because, I'm not anti-semantic, you're going to let me go? I see how this goes. Listen. My Christian brethren, my Mohammedan brethren, my Jewish brethren, they're all my brethren, okay? So let's not let hatred divide us. Right. So what's your opinion, though? I'll give you one more opportunity. Well, I'm explaining to you. I'm trying to tell you. You had it really, you crystallized it, but you had it from the wrong perspective. And if you could just flip it over, hold it in your hands, and reverse it. Okay, I don't think anything's coming from this one. Appreciate your time, 734 area code. Appreciate you. Right, back to the news. I forgot what I was talking about. Probably Iran still. Oh yeah, I was talking about Shida Republican. You must want to lie to everyone. Have you seen what has happened? Open your eyes. If they're still in the chat, I'm curious. I'm actually curious about the right-wing position on this issue. Yeah, wasn't serious, but a good joke. A good joke is a good joke, for sure. Appreciate the last caller. But yeah, I haven't really seen much Republicans defending this war. I mean, I've seen the commentary class do it. The sort of like kind of go-to neocon news folks, the Daily Wire folks, the Matt Walshes, and so on and so forth. But
And that actually, I guess, is an interesting exercise. What exactly could be the defense of this war? Iran is bad because the government is authoritarian. They oppress people. So then we gotta kill them because otherwise they are gonna kill the people themselves. We gotta kill the people. No, I actually don't know what the right-wing defense would be. I would love if an actual right-wing caller called in, or at least just saying something in the chat, like, Republican, explain, number one, where I'm lying, and number two, where I gotta open my eyes and what I gotta open my eyes to. I'm concerned. Or not concerned, confused. Mixed up my words there. I'm a confused fella. Alright, let's see more Twitter headlines. Our Revolution has endorsed James Tallarico. That's good. It's a solid thing. I think James Tallarico, just a little take on the Texas Senate primary, I think James Tallarico was obviously going to be better as a pick than Jasmine Crockett. His message is just better. In primaries, my thought process is you just go with the better candidate. And James was running the better campaign. James was running a campaign where it was really emphasizing, not just left or right, but bottom versus up. Emphasizing class. It was so focused on class. He's got amazing energy. James Tallarico is goated, Ivan, I agree. He's got amazing energy, amazing fundraising, and the fact that it's fundraising from the people and not the rich, small dollar donors, at the scale that he's doing is beyond anything. I don't think I would want him to run for president in 2028, but certainly if he wins, he's qualified to run for president. I just want someone in that Texas Senate seat, though, and someone to stay. That's my thing with Georgia, too. Aside from Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff also voting for the Lake and Riley Act, which isn't really great. Because I guess they come from swing states, so they wanted to be a little more careful. But I wouldn't want them to run for president either way, because I would much prefer... I don't know if they have a system in Georgia or Texas where if you run for a seat like president, you got to give up your Senate seat. Maybe it depends on the state, right? But if they even win, I want to make sure that essentially there's an incumbent Democrat that can hold those swing state seats or red-leaning state seats with an established name, and so on and so forth. So Raphael Warnock, James Tallarico, John Ossoff, I would rather them kind of stay in their Senate seats if they are to win. Or if Tallarico is to win, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff are already there. On that note, let's talk about the Senate races in 2026. The House, I think, is going to flip to Democrats. That's just kind of commonly accepted at this point, that the House is going to go to the Democratic Party. Just is what it is. The gerrymandering didn't go the Republicans' favor. I think they dummy-mandered in Texas particularly, so Texas is actually going to help Democrats. You're going to see Democrats flip seats in Texas. Bobby Polito is going to take that seat that he's running in because he's running an excellent campaign in terms of just winning, in terms of just switching voters. Fully agree. Appreciate you. But the Senate. Hello to AC. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you. But in the United States Senate, I think Tallarico absolutely has a chance to win. I think Graham Plattner is going to win the nomination for the Democratic Party. He is a fisherman or oyster... Isaac Oysterman? Is that the term? But he's an oyster farmer. And he is beating the incumbent governor in the polls already. He's going to be here in the primary. They threw the nukes at him, and he tanked it. He tanked it. And his campaign is still very much alive. And it's dominating in the polls. So I think when election day comes, ultimately he's going to win for the primary. And then against Susan Collins, yes, this is the moment for a Democrat to win in general, across the country, especially in Maine, where Democrats have a history of winning, at least at the presidential level. But you need someone special to beat Susan Collins, and yes, Graham Plattner, in my view, is that special guy. So, let's just do a Senate map, okay? Let's just do a damn Senate map. Senate 2026 map. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it, but of course I'll be able to commentate. So, states up for grabs. A lot of states. Really, the swingier states are... I'll even include less swingy states as well, like Florida. There's Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Maine, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, Nebraska, Montana. Other states here are solid red, you know, most of the South, much of the middle of the country, South Carolina, etc., etc., etc. So, it is what it is there. But, if Democrats then win Texas, if Democrats then win Maine, if Democrats then win in Michigan, ideally Abdul El-Sayed. Collins voted with Democrats on something recently. I thought that was strategic. Yeah, probably. She always tries to make sure that she seems different enough from the Republicans to sort of kind of keep the image of independence. You know what I mean? John Ossoff is running for re-election in Georgia, and he's running very effectively. I think he's the biggest fundraiser in the damn party. So I'm going to give Georgia to Democrats as well. North Carolina got Roy Cooper, again, running a damn effective campaign. I think they're winning there. Now, question comes down to this. We got, Montana's going to go to the Republicans, so I'll just make that solid red. We got Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio, and Florida. Now, we're going to go through some of these ones. I was just reading the most recent thing. Nebraska has an independent. That's super interesting. That's Dan Osborne. Dan Osborne, I think, just has the sauce. He made the Nebraska 2024 race extremely competitive. In a year, Donald Trump did well. A red state, in a year, Donald Trump did well. An independent, clearly running a more left-wing campaign. Even though he had the right-wing positions because he's running in a red state. But he comes from a union background, has connections to Burning World, has connections to the labor movement, and so on and so forth. In a time where people are so mad at Republicans, where people are so ready for populism, where he already had a first campaign to sort of establish himself, and now he has another campaign, I'm giving Dan Osborne the win in Nebraska. Also, his opponent is a billionaire. A very rich guy. In this moment, I think being a billionaire is, in fact, a liability. With that in mind, that gives a 50-50 situation in this Senate. So in terms of who gets the majority, though, that leaves us with Iowa and Ohio. Minnesota's going to go to the Democrat, whoever is going to be the nominee there. Iowa and Ohio. Florida, I gave to the Republicans. Just at least in the prediction's sake. I'm in Florida. I'm going to try to help the Democratic Party. Don't get it twisted. I'm going to try to help us win. It's just if you're a betting man from the outside looking in and trying to, make a bet, you're probably betting that Republicans are going to win. And it depends on our candidate, though. Because we go get Alex Vindman, and it's another boring Democrat, yeah, we're probably going to lose. If we get a combination of Alex Vindman, a boring national security state Democrat, and David Jolly, a former Republican congressman running for governor, if we get that as our combination for statewide races, we're going to lose. Boca Raton in Florida went to the Democrats. That's a fair point. Shout out to Boca Raton. Miami as well also went to the Democrats. So Democrats have potential in Florida. Now, I work within the party. We move really, 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 really slow. I want them to move faster with urgency and all that stuff, and I'm trying. We'll see how that goes. But if Democrats are able to really meet this moment, number one, first thing they need to do is engage. Or not engage. Wait. My first thing they need to do is give a primary victory to Demings for governor, the mayor of Orange County. Orange County has kind of been the Democratic stronghold in Florida, and ultimately he is a real Democrat. He's been a Democrat, right? And Angie Nixon for United States Senate. Angie Nixon for United States Senate. She is a real progressive, all the Jasmine Crockett supporters that were going hard on James Tallarico and James Tallarico supporters for, I don't know, supporting a white dude over a black woman, essentially, right? And really trying to go after James from the identity perspective, kind of being dirty with it, in my view. I see some people that were really making big deals on Facebook, or excuse me, Twitter, about that race, that were really talking about it all the time, being real harsh on James and his supporters. And they live in the state of Florida. They're involved in the Florida Democratic Party. And they haven't tweeted once about Angie Nixon. Angie Nixon is a black woman. Angie Nixon is a real progressive. Angie Nixon has stood up for Palestine in the Florida State House. Angie Nixon has stood up to the Florida Republican supermajority in the State House and State Senate and the governor. So Angie Nixon, I'm voting Angie Nixon every day of the week. But we'll get back to Florida. That's the first things that the party needs to do, and that depends on the voters, is vote for Jerry Demings and Angie Nixon. But I want to talk about Iowa for a moment. Iowa is normally a red state. It's not impossible for Democrats to win there, though. Iowa has been won by Democrats in the past. Iowa also is being super negatively affected by these Republican tariffs and just the overall economic state of the world. Agriculture is being hit bad. I'm going to make the real bet that Democrats are going to win in Iowa. I am making the bet that... Oh, wait. Actually, wait. I didn't mention Maine earlier. Democrats are winning in Maine if Graham Plattner's in there. So if Iowa even goes red, Democrats still have the majority if they win Texas and Maine alone. And North Carolina and Michigan and Georgia. But if they win Iowa, I do have the sense that they're going to win Iowa. Based on the economic situation that this country's in. Based on the fact that Iowa in particular and a lot of those Midwest states and Central America states, not Central America, but center of the United States have been in economic decline and recession due to this administration. I think Iowa's going to go to the Democrats. This year is just the political moment for this to happen. Ohio. I could see Iowa flipping. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I could see it. Iowa has gone to Democrats before. Democrats have won statewide in Iowa in not too long ago or whatever in recent history. I think Iowa flips. And I think Ohio has a chance. Ohio's going to be tough. But did you guys see that poll of Vivek Ramaswamy? Now he's running for governor, for governor of the state of Ohio. And he is getting cooked because Republicans are being too racist right now to consolidate behind an Indian. I'm sorry, it's just true. It's just true. They are being too racist right now. Just consolidate behind an Indian, and you got the Democratic candidate polling higher than Vivek Ramaswamy. And the Republican Party officials, the elites in the party, have already put their support behind Ramaswamy. Nobody's going to come up and replace Ramaswamy. So now they got to deal with that, unfortunately for them. But that's the governor race. We're talking about Senate. For Senate, we have Sherrod Brown running again. Sherrod Brown has a history of doing pretty decent working class populism. Sherrod Brown is going to be well known. He won't really have to struggle as much to find himself a name or to build his name. Ultimately, yeah, I mean, let me look at the polls here, just out of curiosity. Ohio Senate race. I think having a well-respected incumbent absolutely gives him the chance to potentially win. He has the labor unions endorsing him, all the labor unions. He's raised good money, $14 million. Already spending now. Inside Elections has it lean R. Cook Report, Political Report has it lean R. Savato Crystal Ball has it lean R. But Race to the White House has it tilt D, flip. And in terms of aggregate polling, I really don't know what Vivek was expecting. Like, he was never going to have long-term support with Republicans. Yeah. I mean, Vivek seems to wish that he was part of the Republican Party of the Reagan era. Right? And he's not. He's not. He's part of the Republican Party of Donald Trump and soon to be Nick Fuentes. The youth are already in the Nick Fuentes camp of the Republican Party. They are a Nazi party, the Nazi youth. And I'm very curious in the long term what the country is going to look like when you're dealing with likely a more left-wing Democratic Party simply based on demographics, when the younger people are the older people, and a much more right-wing Republican Party, and not right-wing economically, right-wing in terms of just the authoritarian side of the spectrum of sorts. But the aggregate polls have 270 to win has Sherrod Brown winning by 1 point. Race to the White House has Sherrod Brown winning by 2 points. Real Clear Politics has John Hudson winning by 1 point. Average total overall 46.9 to 46.4, 0.5% advantage. And just looking at some of these polls, there's a Republican poll that has Hudson in the lead 46 to 44, but that's a 2-point gap. There's another Republican poll here by Insurance Watchdog Coalition, or paid for by Insurance Watchdog Coalition, but it's a Republican poll. 47 to 45 in favor of Sherrod Brown, 3-point advantage. EMC Research Democrat poll has Sherrod Brown up 51%. Simply put, the amount of young Republicans who get caught being Yahtzees is insane. Yeah, no, bro, I don't know what it's going to be like when those become the real leaders of the Republican Party, because they will be. To be a leader in a party, you just have to be in for the long game, okay? You got to be in for the long game. And it's shit, man. Them gripers are in early. They seem to be neck and neck within the margin of error. Yes, indeed. That's the thing. They are neck and neck, John Hudson and Sherrod Brown. It's a very close race. It's hard to say. The thing is, in Ohio, I feel like in recent years, it shouldn't be a close race. It should be a race Republicans are going to do well in, because I feel like they've solidified Ohio as a place they can win. But I think there is the advantage of Sherrod Brown coming back. I think as well, this is kind of crazy, but having an Indian dude, Vivek Ramaswamy, this is really fucked up, but having an Indian dude as essentially one of 2 statewide candidates in Ohio is actually bringing down the overall Ohio ticket for the Republican Party. So the advantage of having Sherrod Brown, the disadvantage of having Vivek Ramaswamy present. And to be fair to, I believe her name is Amy Acton. Is that her name? The opponent of Vivek Ramaswamy. This headline 6 hours ago: Republican Vivek Ramaswamy dealt double polling blow in Ohio governor's race. He's being blowed, folks. The people of Ohio are blowing Vivek Ramaswamy. But the 2026 Ohio race here. Let's see how the polls look here. Race for the White House, 47 to 44 is the aggregate for Amy Acton. 46.7 to 46.3, Real Clear Politics. And then looking at some of these recent polls, 46 to 45, this is Republican research. Democratic research, 53 to 43. That kind of margin is massive, but that is Democratic research commissioned by the Ohio Environmental Council. Emerson College, 46 to 45. Republican poll, data targeting, 45 to 43. Oh, the Emerson was 46 to 45 for Amy Acton. This data targeting Republican thing is 45 to 43. A lot of undecideds. Bowling Green University, YouGov, 50 to 47. Then there's Hart Research, 46 to 45. The thing is also neck and neck, just like the other race. But the thing is, I'm gonna just keep it so real. I think Vivek being Indian actually really fucking hurts him. Which isn't fair to him. And I don't like Vivek. I think he's a scammer. I think he's a bad guy overall. But damn, son. The fact that your party is not the party itself, but the people of the party are really like treating you that way is crazy. Oh, and they already chose running mates in the Republican Party. Vivek has a running mate, Rob McCauley, president of the Ohio Senate from 2025 to the present, from the 1st District, 2017 to the present. So the president of the Ohio Senate And looking at the polling for the Republican primary, Vivek is dominating, so Vivek is likely going to win that pretty easily. But yeah, man. I'm going to give Ohio to the Democrats. That's fucking bullish. That's bullish. Best case scenario, though, is if we win Ohio. On top of that best case scenario, the real crazy side of things, what would be really insane, is if Democrats win in Florida. But we would need to run a perfect campaign. There would need to be ground game, which I don't know if we have. There would need to be intense advertising, digital and television. Advertising that sticks out. There would need to be a story, a narrative fueling this race, which only Angie Nixon could create that narrative. Angie Nixon and Jerry Demings needs to be the nominees for Senate and Governor. It cannot be David Jolly, and it cannot be Alex Vindman. I don't care how much money Vindman is able to raise. The fact that he's been able to raise so much money only really tells me he's kind of selling out in a much more efficient way. And there was a poll that came out that showed Vindman and Nixon essentially within the same position against the incumbent Republican appointed after Marco Rubio became the secretary of fucking 4 different things in the White House. Ashley Moody. So they were slightly behind Ashley Moody, but they were practically tied. I say practically because when you compare the two versus Ashley Moody, Nixon was like 1% above Vindman. So she's slightly outperforming. And Nixon is a real progressive. So she has absolutely earned my vote and full support in Florida. I'm going to personally try to work to help her win. And if she becomes the nominee for United States Senate, frankly, I think we have a higher chance of winning the Senate than if Alex Vindman was the nominee. So best case scenario, really, in my view, I don't think Democrats are good. Oh my gosh, how do you forget? Mary Peltola in Alaska. She's won statewide before. It's going to be a Democratic year. She's going to win again. That's my view. And I don't even think that's best case scenario. I think that's just likely. It's just likely. She's won statewide and it's going to be a blue wave year. The economy is in the gutter and we're in a bullshit war and the war is unpopular and it's not going to get more popular from here. It's not. It's only going to get worse. And in turn, it's only going to get worse for Donald Trump. So, I don't know how likely Democrats are going to win in Florida. But if they win, then it's going to be 55-45. That would be amazing for the Democratic Party. But if we don't win Florida, it's going to be 54-46, which would still be amazing for the Democratic Party. I do believe that the Democratic Party could win in Iowa, in Alaska, in Texas, in Ohio, in Maine. The closest thing. Let's say it gets real close. Let's say we lose Ohio. Let's say we lose Iowa. Let's say we lose Nebraska. Something just tells me Texas is going that Democratic way. And that alone, losing a bunch of states just now. If Democrats just win Texas, with Georgia, with North Carolina, with Maine, with Michigan, with Alaska. But that would be 51-49 in favor of the Democratic Party. And the reality is, Democrats do not need to win the Senate in this election alone. If the Republicans win in Texas, it becomes a 50-50 split. It is still a Republican majority because the vice president is going to is a Republican, right? So when it's 50-50 and it's tied, it's going to go into the Republicans' favor. Okay? But if we look at the 2028 Senate map, there is absolutely room to pick up seats there. We can pick up a seat in Wisconsin. That's absolutely possible. We can pick up another seat in North Carolina. Who would be the Republican in North Carolina? Ted Bundt was elected in 2022 with 50% 50.5% of the vote. 50.5% of the vote, he was elected. And 2022 was supposed to be a red wave, folks. A red wave. So yes, I think in 2028, even if James Tallarico loses, right? And we're out here sitting 50-50 in the Senate after 2026. In 2028, Democrats can win in Wisconsin. Democrats can pick up in North Carolina. I don't see Republicans picking up in any of these blue incumbent seats in Colorado, in Arizona, in Nevada, in California, in New York City. The Republicans are not going to get a pickup there. But if Democrats can then pick up Wisconsin and North Carolina alone, there you go, that's a Democratic majority. But let's fucking aim high. Democrats could pick up in Iowa, another Iowa race. Chuck Grassley, is he going to run again? Wait, what the fuck? Kari Lake, who potentially was the previous nominee of governor of Arizona in 2022 and the Senate in 2024, has since moved back to Iowa and is viewed as a potential candidate if Grassley does not run for United States Senate in 2028. God willing, bro. Inshallah. Inshallah. Kari Lake is political poison, and Charles Chuck Grassley is 92 though, and he would probably run again, but I don't give a fuck how old he is. Again, there's the big potential that 2028, number one, people are going to come out and vote, and it could be a good year for Democrats. It could be. It could be. So fuck it, man. If Democrats are out here with what I actually predict, at least a win with the independent in Nebraska, a win with a Democrat in Iowa, Ohio. Unfortunately, I'm very cynical about the chances of my own state, so I'm just, for safe reasons, gonna keep Florida red. Okay? It's easy to be cynical in the state of Florida. If we get 54 and 46, and then in Wisconsin, we get another seat. 55, North Carolina, the other North Carolina Senate seat. 56, Iowa, the other Iowa seat. 57. And I know a lot of the Democrats are really fixated on the South. Louisiana, I think, Mississippi or whatever. Shit. Go ahead. Go work in the South. There's also going to be a Senate election in Alaska. Four-term Republican Lisa Murkowski, a vocal critic of Donald Trump, has opposed several of his initiatives. She was censured by the Alaska Republican Party because she was one of 7 Republican senators voted to convict Trump in the second impeachment trials. She was reelected in 2022 with 53.7% of the vote, despite the Alaska Republican Party and President Trump endorsing Kelly Tishibaka over her. So the thing about her is I don't see the Trump effect potentially hurting her because she seems independent enough. Did you see Netanyahu Nelk Boy's interview? I saw it a while ago. I didn't watch it a long time ago. But is there a new one? Did he go there? That he's like, hey fellas, we just started a war with Iran. I just see 7 months ago. Man, the Nelk Boys are such a... They're such losers, bro. How are they talking to Netanyahu of all people? And they're like, dude, yo, you like Burger King? And Netanyahu's like, yeah, man, I love Burger King. No, he doesn't sound like that. He talks like, yes, I love Burger King. I like to have Burger King made out of Palestinian remains. That's what I do. I make a Swiss and make the blood into ketchup. That sounded almost anti-Semitic. Oops. That wasn't blood libel, folks. I'm just saying he's a gruesome murderer. Donald Trump is not, what's his face? That shit was straight propaganda, and they had the audacity to say it wasn't. Lamau, are you regulated? I don't know what regulated means, brother. But Yeah, no, that was straight propaganda. The fact, like, there are certain people that just shouldn't be running interviews if you can't. And then they give the defense, like, we don't talk politics. We just like to interview, like, cool people, dude. We just like to interview, like, really interesting people, dude. Like, bro, what is going on? Oh, man, I haven't drinking much in a while. I'm a little thirsty. Quite a bit more views than last stream, folks. The U.S. Canadians ain't sending our best. That's true, folks. That's true, they're not. No good. No good. Last stream, let me see how much views that got. I think it got like 100. Or 224. This one has 229, so we slightly surpassed that one. You see, you know one of the things, I'll just say this directly, just chatting a little bit about the content creator situation and stuff before I go. When I started streaming on YouTube, doing these vertical streams, and they were blowing up, I don't know what it was about the algorithm that, like, helped so much with blowing up these streams. I think there just came a point where, like, the vertical streaming was still fairly new and YouTube wanted to push the hell out of it. And then at some point, I guess they just kind of redirected the algorithm to send them out less. I don't know. So I noticed that really dramatically back in the beginning of 2025, early 2025. And I think there is something about, like, going from, like, oh yeah, the YouTube would just push it out and you get, like, a kind of consistent 50, 80 viewers. Sometimes it would fucking pop off and your shit would get to 400 concurrent viewers and all that stuff. And people would be calling in and it was all exciting and shit and crazy and fast and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was all that shit. And then when it dropped, it becomes very demotivating to continue. That's why with these streams, I'm not even focused too much on the debate side of things anymore, because you just can't depend on Republicans to call in. And simply put, Trump is sucking big ass balls right now. He's doing really bad as president. And I think on a practical level, a lot of them are not going to want to call in and debate. Just straight up. They don't want to defend this. They know shit's not good. So, my point when I say that is, even with, like, kind of small concurrent viewers, I think I'll just, try to do an hour a day chatting about the news, chatting about politics, interacting with the chat as well, and just kind of appreciate the discoverability that is slightly better on vertical streams than regular streams. Even, like, because, I remember trying to stream, like, the normal streams and on here, on YouTube, or on Twitch, and it's just, like, damn, like, what, like, it was, you couldn't get one view. So, like, again, even, like, 4 views, 5 views right now is massive. Though, if you are looking for debate panel show, Alex Gunter has been doing some stuff. Danabo has been organizing the roundtable. I've been around in those circles before, like, back in 2021. Let me see this, Alex Gunter. It's, the thing about those circles, essentially those debate circles, is like, well, one, it feels like you're depending on them for content, and then 2, you really actually didn't get much from interacting with other people's debate panels. It just became like a grind there, and like what I learned from my time in like 2021 on like the Twitch debate panel side of things is like, number one, unless you're like Destiny or Vaush or Hassan, like, damn, they don't care if you're there or not, and will like make you wait for a long ass time, and you're gonna spend a lot of time doing that shit. And then number 2, like, you really just get like 0 growth from it because it's not even on your channel, and you can barely make content with it because a lot of the stuff there is long, and a lot of speaking and all that stuff. So main thing I'm saying is, I either wanna, when it comes to debate, it's either going to be me hosting it, essentially, or me going on Jubilee. It's one of those 2 things. No, thank you for the suggestion, though. I appreciate that. No doubt about it. I appreciate that a lot. But, I think I'll just kind of focus on just talking about the news, building a community of people interested in hearing the news. If a Republican wants to call in, they can still call in. There's a phone number right above my head. And then hopefully that translates into a more stable, consistent audience. Maybe super chat donations, channel members, etc., etc., etc. Because you lose an election, and now it lets you grind on other things, including YouTube and other stuff. Career stuff outside YouTube as well, and all that stuff. And I'm going to try to do like an hour a day instead of like doing like the 4-hour, 5-hour stuff I would do when I was doing those debates, because hour a day is able to keep things, a good amount of content flowing. Hour a day, but weekdays, and then sometimes weekends if I'm really feeling it. But keep the content flowing, and hopefully there's long-term rewards for that, essentially. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. But 5 days a week, 1-hour live streams at least. I can go longer if I'd like, but I do think I'm going to end stream soon because I'm low-key mad thirsty. I've only had like juice and soda to drink today because I went out, I hung out with people, and we were at the mall, and when I'm at the mall, I see juice, I see soda, and I want juice, and I want soda. With that in mind, now I'm going to get some water. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you all show up again. Even the MAGA folks, I appreciate you being here. Yes, there you go. Go get that hydration. Agreed, Ivan and William McKill. You know what? I'm going to give you a little time, William. How do you feel about your president being a pedophile and starting a war that he cannot win? Answer quickly before the stream ends. William. Hurry, William. I'm watching you, William. The stream is depending on you, William. Good stream as always. Thank you very much, Ivan. I appreciate it. William, I hear you. I see you. I see you. Don't run now. Don't run, brother. I'm gonna get some music for you, bruh. I'm gonna get some music. I'm looking at the chat. I'm gonna get some music for you. I'm gonna get some music for you, brother. William McGill. You got 20 seconds. 1. Really slow seconds. This isn't really a good rendition of this song. I'll just go with this one. 1. The devil never talks about himself, only others. So I'm the devil for not liking pedophiles and war? That's an interesting argument. Anyway, feel free to elaborate what you like about Donald Trump, and what you like about Americans dying for Israel, and what you like about Iranian school children dying when their school gets bombed. Because to me, that looks more like the work of a devil than criticizing that stuff. Don't you agree, William? Bombing children is bad, actually. Correct? You are lying. So a school didn't get bombed. Amnesty International, USA, Iran, those responsible for deadly and unlawful U.S. strike on school that killed over 100 children must be held accountable. Those children must be crisis actors. Clearly. U.S. responsible for deadly attack on Iranian school, Amnesty International. Right groups say Tomahawk missile used in the Minab school strike that killed at least 170 people, mostly children. Lies, lies, and more lies. Okay, okay. Here, another article. Loss of innocence. The U.S. strike on Iranian schools and the implications of America at war. Your creator awaits. Oh, I pray for people like you, William. I'm curious, for someone like William, if they're like too stupid to realize they're lying, on behalf of Epstein Associates in support of Operation Epstein Fury, this war on Iran. If they're too stupid to realize they're lying in support of these concepts, would they get the burden of their sins when they enter the pearly gates? Would they have to answer for those sins of lying? Or is it that they're too stupid to even know that they're lying? I don't know. That's a genuine question. Because I think there's something about knowing that you're lying. And I'm going to assume, William, that you're not that stupid. I'm going to assume you can wipe your own ass and wash your hands. And if you can do that, if you're capable of doing that, I'm assuming you know that Amnesty International is not lying about children getting bombed. Where? All I can hear is where. Banger, dude. Do you have any proof that Amnesty International is lying? When you have to answer to St. Peter why you're lying here, what are you going to say? I'm curious as well. I think they'd get rejected based on the fact that they probably know deep down and choose not. Yeah. That's the thing. When you meet these MAGA people, I think they know what they're doing. They just are. They have a conclusion they want to believe. Do you have any proof that they aren't? There's been multiple sources on the Iranian school bombing. There are pictures and videos of the school bombed. Nobody is denying that the school has been bombed. Israel and the United States are claiming that Iran did it. But they were struck with a Tomahawk missile. Now, Tomahawk missiles are American products. And the Tomahawk missiles operators is exclusively the United States of America. So an American missile hits this school and kills Iranians on the day that we bomb Iran in a bunch of places. Yet somehow we're supposed to trust Israel in saying that those missiles are used by a lot of countries. Here, correction, mostly used by the United States, but also used by the United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, the Netherlands. So, not Iran. Not Iran. So unless you're trying to tell me that it was Japan that just decided to attack Iran the day that the United States attacked Iran and Israel attacked Iran, Japan was just floating around there and just threw the missile. In all seriousness, fuck the games, fuck the sarcasm. I do want to say, William McGill, you're doing the devil's work. And I mean that sincerely. You worship a pedophile in terms of Donald Trump. You lie on behalf of a pedophile. You are more than willing to have Americans die on behalf of Israel's interest. People like you genuinely do this disgust me. Not because you're religious or whatever. I'm religious too. I pray every morning too. And I'm sure you have faith in your religion, but somehow you've warped it and twisted it, and you are out here supporting pedophiles bombing children. It's one thing to support them raping children, which we're already fine with considering you seem like you're a Trump supporter. It's another thing to support bombing schools. And with that, and the fact that you're not calling in, and you really can't make an argument besides essentially saying, you're evil, please, William, I encourage you to go fuck yourself. With that in mind, we're going to end stream. Appreciate you all. Have a good day. Shout out to you all. You are doing the devil's work. You can have your own questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, just not your own set of facts. And there it is, folks. I see Republicans do this in this chat particularly. You don't make the facts. I've read the facts. The arguments I've given to you were not provided by me, and it didn't come out of my ass. It was provided by human rights groups. The fact that only U.S. and U.S. allies have Tomahawk missiles is just common information. Iran was not shooting Tomahawk missiles at their only school. It makes complete sense that a school being bombed the same day the United States was bombing a bunch of shit was also bombed by the United States and Israel. You're just either lying, stupid, or objectively a bad person. And I hope when interacting with people like you that you're not a bad person. Just for the sake of the people in your life. But anyway, with that in mind, fuck you, William, and have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you all later. Have a good day.